Hey, welcome back, everybody. I've got another special guest with me today for our Hangout. Her name is Cam Stewart. She's on staff at Element Church. She's part of our central team, but plays a really big part at our Winsfield campus as well. So Cam, why don't you say hello and tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
All right. Well, hey, everybody. This is really exciting. I get to be they call me the guest experience director. And like Pastor Cisco said, I do have a central role, but of course I do have a lot of responsibility on the weekends, specifically at Wentzville. And the areas that I get to be over are what we call from the street to the seat. And we try to make a welcoming experience from the time that you come onto our parking lot as you enter the building. So I'm parking and lobby, and then even the ushers, even when you're sitting down, we want you to have just the best experience possible. So from the street out there all the way into sitting in your seat, we want to welcome.
That's so awesome. That's so important. People, I think, a lot of times underestimate that a lot of people will decide, is it the first 3 minutes?
I've seen it. I've seen a lot of different ways, but it's within the first few minutes. Let's just say that. We know that it's within the first few minutes. People are going to decide whether they're coming back or not because of what they see just as they're entering and how they feel when they walk in the building, maybe, or just the feel of it more than even before they've heard any worship or the pastor. So.
Wow. And that's pretty crazy to think about. Before they even heard the pastor, before they even heard any music.
Yes.
So you and your team really have to think through a lot of that, a lot of those details. And so that's so important. And so thank you for that, because it's those things that are often maybe overlooked by some people make a big difference to other people.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about like how you came to know Christ, Cam.
All righty. Well, I come from a family. My father is a pastor. He was a pastor the entire time from my birth, and it's funny because at the age of 5, I remember I said the prayer. I said the salvation prayer. I remember being around the coffee table with the rest of my family, and I prayed. And you know what? I believed it with all my heart. And so I actually believe that I became a Christian at the age of 5. But at the age of 9, it took that long for me to decide to be baptized. And I don't remember what triggered me being baptized, but I remember that I wanted to be baptized. And I come from a church where you walk down the middle aisle and you went up and you spoke to the pastor and you said, I want to be baptized. And then they would present you to the church and they would sort of vote on you, but they would just really say, yes, we want her in. And then, and so I got baptized, and I got baptized the very next week. It's kind of how it went. He would come and talk to you and go over the church covenant with you. And it was kind of your, just making sure that you understood what you were doing. And something happened during that week. I got baptized, but then I began questioning, like, what is this for? Like, I didn't really fully understand it. And I started to get really scared. And I thought that maybe I would die sometime during that week and I was going to go to hell.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was one of those, like, I did not want to go to hell. And
but you were young still, right? Like you were still
9 years old.
Yeah.
And so I must have asked him, to come into my life, like, 12 times. And I remember finally realizing, okay, it is no more than just believing that he did this for us and accepting it. And then once I did that, then I felt really solid about it. And then I wanted to be baptized again to show everybody again. So I actually, I went forward and I got baptized again. Not everybody, that's a little weird. So, but I truly feel like I did not make my faith my very, very own until I was in my 20s at some time. There was something that happened that just, you pray for this for your kids, or at least I do for my kids, that it will become their own faith, that they love Jesus and live for him because they love him, not because they grew up in the family that did, but because they have their own experiences with him and they want to live for him. And so that happened sometime in my 20s. And
Wow.
so yes, I knew the Lord, loved but didn't fall in love with him until later,
Yeah,
a little bit later in life.
that's that's so good. Wow. I love what you said about, like, the faith needs to be their own. I got daughters, one's an adult, one's in her late teens now, and that's what I want for them,
Yes.
because we raised them in church, they grew up in church, but when that faith becomes their own,
Mhm.
that's really powerful.
Right.
So in your 20s, you really started becoming, like, that faith was becoming your own. When did you start serving in church, and what led you to eventually end up serving with the guest experience world, and leading you to where you're at today?
Alrighty. Well, I came from, like you said, like I said earlier, a family of, my father was the pastor. And a lot of times when you're in a smaller church and your father is like, you do a little bit of everything. And so I did a little bit of everything. I taught Sunday school and Awana on Wednesday, and VBS when it would come around. I mean, that was so fun. And Sunday school, superintendent, different things as the years went on, and enjoyed all of that. But then when in our 20s, when we decided, okay, well, our family, we need to make this our very own, family faith. We had moved to Wentzville, and we actually came to a carnival on the parking lot at Element. And it was in '07, I believe, in October of '07. We moved to Wentzville in '07, and we saw that carnival one time, and we just pulled over and came to it and thought it was amazing. Didn't know it was a church. But then when we wanted to look for a church, it wasn't until the next year in May, and we said, well, what was that thing that we went to? We thought maybe,
Wow.
we weren't sure what it was. We knew it was kind of Christian. We weren't sure. And I just looked it up. I just said churches in Wentzville and looked for the one in Bell's Mall, to be very honest with you. And
Yeah.
it said Element Church. And we said, well, let's try that. And we came, and we came inside, and we thought, well, this is different and amazing. And we never went anywhere else. Like, this was our new home. I did take some time off and didn't serve for just a little bit, and I always felt really guilty during that time, because I know that I should be, I know you should be serving, but I took a little time to be ministered to. And
Hmm.
then there was our facilities, our facilities director at the time had some knee surgeries and asked if we would help with the restrooms. Now, I know everybody says, like, they started out cleaning bathrooms, but that is the honest truth.
Wow.
He had knee
Yeah.
surgery, and he asked my husband Ryan if he would clean the restrooms between the services. And I said, well, do you want me to help you with the women's? Because I didn't think Ryan would want to do the women's. And he said, oh yeah, that'd be great. And so we started coming and cleaning the restrooms between all the services. And something was seen in that. And I was asked if I wanted to be in the accounting office, which is a jump, quite a leap, but
Yeah.
I have an accounting background. So that was really funny. And I accepted that, and I started serving in the accounting office. And
Wow.
that is what led to me being on staff. I went back to work after 13 years because my son said he wanted to go to Christian high school, and that was not in our budget. And so I knew I needed to go back to work. And so anyway, they heard it, and they said, well, we have a place for you here. And
Wow.
I came on
So
staff.
this is amazing, and I love your story, because you saw something, an attraction that the church was doing for the community, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your first introduction. It took a year, but you came back
Mm-hmm.
and you got plugged in. So
Yep.
here we have a director at the church, a ministry leader, somebody that helps with with rolling out the strategy that the church has on a global level.
Yeah.
But you didn't start in background. You didn't go to seminary. You were a
No.
person that just came and discovered Element, got
Mhm.
plugged in, and that led to one thing to another, and you continue to grow. That is
Mhm.
such a cool story, Cam. My story is not too different, and I love that about God,
Mhm.
because he sometimes we can feel like we're not qualified, but he qualifies the called, and we're all
Right.
called to serve him. And so that's a really inspiring story. What's your favorite part about the ministry that you get to oversee right now?
I have to say that the weekends, I work all week just to get to the weekends. I really do enjoy people and being around people, and especially right now. And so there's something really, I look forward to seeing everyone every weekend and just making it happen. I love every part of church. I like even the difficult parts of church that I'm learning to work through. But I really enjoy mm, kind of making it happen. Like the weekend when it finally gets here, it's go time. It's ready. We're ready to roll it out. We're ready to do it. And there's just an excitement about it every single weekend for me.
Man, that's great. And we see so many people come through our buildings on the weekend. And it's nice that now that I wouldn't say COVID's behind us, but we are
No,
able to have church again. It's been
yeah,
such a wonderful thing to be
really.
able to worship with people in that environment and to see faces and stuff. So that's exciting. What
Mhm.
about outside of church? What keeps you busy outside of church? You got hobbies, and I know you mentioned you have a family. So
I
yeah, tell us a
do.
little bit about that.
So I do. I have a two kids, a girl who is 16, a boy who is 19. I have two dogs that are really sweet and sitting in here with me, and I have a wonderful husband. And they do keep us really busy. Tonight we'll go to a football game. My daughter will cheer, and pretty soon we'll go to a concert that my son will be doing. And but other than that, like I recently we finally got to go back to the movies. That's really one of my favorite things in life, are going to the movies. And
Yeah,
so we did go back. There are a few that are coming out, but even if it's an old one, I still just like the experience. And I also really enjoy shopping. So that was taken away for quite some time because we couldn't, well, they weren't even selling clothing for a while there, but now we can actually go back into stores. So that's nice.
right on.
Um, I would love to say that I love to cook, but I just really do not love to cook. But I do enjoy, but I do enjoy sitting around as a family, and as a family, like almost every single night, we play a game. And right now
Wow.
we're stuck on Yahtzee, so we play a lot of Yahtzee.
Oh,
But
that's so awesome.
yeah,
That is so cool. Good for you. That's so cool. I love the way that you're so family oriented. And I know your family personally, and I can see that. And that's such a special thing. So good for you. Such a good thing to hear.
I like them a
Um,
little.
yeah. So in your role, you see a lot of people week in and week out, especially on the weekend. And this has been gosh, it's been such a trying year for a lot of us.
Yes.
2020 has just been filled with a lot of things. COVID being a big one, but a lot of other things happening, and it's a political season too. So there's a lot of that. There's just a lot of stress and anxiety with people, and I'm
Yes.
sure you've seen your fair share of people that are stressed and hurting come through the doors of Element Church. What encouragement can you give right now for somebody that might be watching this, that's going through a tough season? They're trying to get their bearings, and 2020 has just been giving them one curveball after another. What
Hmm.
encouragement do you have?
I hear that, and I was looking up really quickly. I the best thing that I think that I could say right now is that it comes from a devotion that I did have this week. Sometimes you'll go through a whole week and you'll read your devotion, you'll read your Bible, and you feel like nothing is speaking to you. But then sometimes you read it and something really hits you. And this week I did have one that hit me pretty hard, because it was dealing with exactly what I'm dealing with at the moment. And so I'll just to reveal a little bit about myself. I'd been stressing over something just really bad, and the devotion really pressed into the fact that it's a sin to stress so
Mm,
much about things. That we are meant to present our requests to the Lord, and then, do whatever steps he gives us to do, but really just to press into him and to wait on him and to just listen and worship him. And so I had not been doing that. I feel like I had been sinning. I had been, letting it just sit right here, instead of presenting and letting him just kind of work through me in whatever time he feels like working through me. And to use bad grammar, like, I mean, he's got it, I don't got it, I do not have it. I know that he has plans. I know that he will fulfill desires, but he will do it in whatever time he feels like it. And so I need to stop stressing over it. So that's what I would say is, if there's any way that you can identify what you're stressing over, and if you can, just get on those knees and give it to him. I believe there's something about the posture of your heart and getting on your knees. And so I think that would help. And then my second thing that I would say is to not take on the burdens of others. It's so very easy to be the receiver of other people. I hear a lot of things, and I have no trouble hearing the things because I'm doing better at not taking it on myself, going ahead and that's my dog shaking, and listening to it, but not absorbing it, because what good does that do? That's not what is intended. It still is. We still are to give it, and tell them to give it to him, and not take it on. So anyway.
Wow. That's so good, Cam. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for being open and vulnerable too, because even as leaders in ministry, sometimes, I think it's important for people to even see our hearts. Like, and we don't always have it together. We're growing in this too, so thank you for that. That was really, really rich. Yeah. Well, hey, I got a bonus round, rapid fire. Are you ready for it? Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. All right. Coffee or tea?
Tea, but it would have to be sweet and cold.
Oh, all right. Very specific. Early riser or night owl?
Oh, total night owl.
I knew it.
only night owl. Yes.
What's your current favorite show?
It ends in creek. I can tell you that. How about that?
That's perfect.
Okay, great.
Dawson's Creek?
Oh yeah, whatever.
Remember that? Wow, that's going back, ain't it?
Yes.
What about your favorite book outside of the Bible? Do you have a favorite book?
I do. So going back to when I was talking about when I decided to make my faith my own, the book that was transformational for me was Changes That Heal by Dr. Henry Cloud. So that particular book is what just sort of opened my eyes to, hey, you don't have to be a certain way forever. You can reinvent, redefine, things can be different from now on. You don't have to look backward. Anyway, great book. Changes That Heal.
That's awesome.
Oh wait,
that's so refreshing.
And
you got one, don't you?
And Get Up and Grow. Here, I'll put a little there. That's you
right.
go, Coach Duke.
That's right, Coach Duke. I love that book. I give them out all the time. Mm-hmm. All right, last question. If you could meet anybody, past or present, who would it be?
I used to have said the Pioneer Woman, but I finally got to meet her. Diane and I went with our daughters and met her. So I would say Cousin Martha. We always call Martha Stewart Cousin Martha. And so yeah, no, I don't necessarily cook, but I really like watching it, and I really do. I do try some things, and so I find it very fascinating. So yes,
awesome.
Martha Stewart.
Right on. Well, Cam, thank you so much for your time today. Let us get to know you a little bit more. And hey, if people want to connect with you or follow you, are you on social media? Do you have an Instagram handle? How can people connect with you?
I can't rattle that off. I have no idea, but I'm on all of those.
Right on.
Just look up Cam Stewart at Instagram and Facebook. And if you are on our host team and not already on our page, then I want you on it. So on our host team page for Element also.
Right on. All right. Cool, Cam. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon, okay?
Yeah. That's fun.